Hey everybody, I'm back and at home, and sorry for the vacuum going. My dad is doing something, and if you can tell, my hair is a little shorter and it's a different color. It's coming out more purple here, but some lighting my hair is purple, some lighting is more blue. I don't know what the deal is, but it looks real good on camera. I dyed it myself, but I got it bleached professionally. Anyways, that's not the point. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my post-study abroad feels, I guess. I got back to the US on 5 days ago, but today is when me and all my roommates had to move our stuff out. Well, I guess a week ago today. So it's been a week since I haven't seen my roommates, and it's kind of weird. For those of you that don't know, I studied abroad in Prague, Czech Republic, which was amazing. It was everything I could have wanted. Today, I guess, it's going to be some tips maybe about Prague or some advice about study abroad in general and all that stuff. Once again, I'm going to be speaking from my personal experience, not from... So, I don't speak for everyone that studied abroad, but I will talk about my personal experience, and if you find this helpful at the end, you can totally like this video and share with other people that are thinking about studying abroad, are currently studying abroad, you know, all that business. Which, my first little piece of advice is if you're thinking about studying abroad, do it. It was worth it on so many levels. I'm so thankful that I was able to study abroad, especially in Prague. A lot of people don't know about Prague. They're like, why would I do that when I can study in London, when I can study in Paris, when I can study in Berlin, or in Barcelona, or in Florence. All these other countries that are more tourist popular, kind of, even though Prague is the third or fourth most tourist planned destination, I guess. It was in the top 5 for most touristy traveled cities. But it was really good to live there, I would say. I guess this is more targeted to Prague study abroad specifically, especially, okay, if you're confused about studying abroad and where you want to study abroad, I could not recommend Prague enough. There's some things that I personally wasn't prepared for Prague that no one told me about, so I'm gonna tell you the gross parts, I guess, first. Number one gross thing is people pee in the streets. It is 100% legal to have public urination. I'm not sure about public defecation, like the poop part, but you can pee in the streets completely 100% legally without getting in trouble. And in case you're wondering, people don't just pee when they're drunk at night. I've seen people pee in public in broad daylight. Like, I'm on the tram going to school, and then some dude is peeing behind a tree. Another guy peeing next to a wall. Don't worry, mostly dudes pee publicly, but it happens. Could be because Europe charges for bathrooms. Who knows? Which is another thing. If you really, really have to go, you will probably have to pay for a public bathroom. In Prague, it ranged from 10 to 15 crowns typically. So there's that. If you're lucky, I went to Croatia, and a really nice lady did not charge us to pee. We're not sure if she was supposed to, because she was in the front of the bathroom, and there's a little dish, we had to pay, but we didn't have to pay. But paying for bathrooms, even if you are in KFC or McDonald's or any other food chain, like that, they will charge you to pee, and use the bathrooms. Some restaurants, sit-down-y kind of restaurants, since you're already eating there and paying for that, a lot of times they won't charge you to pee. But if it's a fast food place, they probably will charge you for the bathroom, because I guess it's like a convenient place for a lot of people to walk in and out of, and it's easier for people to go there. Another, okay, speaking, I know I'm talking about bathrooms for a long time, but another thing about bathrooms in Prague, public bathrooms, I should say, malls are typically free. I live next to a mall. If anyone lives around Andel, hey, I live next to the Andel, like, there's a metro here, you walk out, and then you have the tram stop right there, and then, so Novi Smíchov Mall was, like, right over there. Those bathrooms are for sure free. I found this out, because they were doing construction near my apartment building, so they turned off the water, and they didn't tell us. That's another thing they don't do. They don't tell you when the water's being shut down. They turned off the water, and we all had to pee, and I'm like, no, it's gonna be on by the time I get back from class. I get back from class around 6, so I walk there, so I get home, no water was on, so I, like, ran to the mall and peed, so they're not the nicest bathrooms. Oh, well, they're decent, actually, for considering that they're free and stuff, and very accessible. So if you're in desperation, mall bathrooms are typically free. I can't speak for every mall, because I tried not to stay in malls often, past, like, the first, like, 2-3 weeks, but the mall bathrooms were free. At least, especially in Novi Smíchov, which is very helpful if you are living around the Andel station. Praha 5! 10 minutes after bathroom. Some other stuff that no one told me is that when you live next to the brewery, or a brewery, and there's construction. Sorry. If you're living next to the brewery and there's construction and you walk by it, it smells like misery. It smells like sweet rotting fruit and like rabbit poop and like dead bodies all mixed together. Pure misery. Prague in general, if you're not just in the tourist spots, which if you're studying there, there's a good chance you're going to want to avoid the main touristy spots as much as possible, because you will get really sick of tourists and really sick of segways. You think you won't get sick of segways? Trust me. After seeing them all over Prague, you get sick of segways. But the touristy areas probably don't smell funky, but some of the non-touristy areas get a little funky. But it's not like a big deal. I remember first getting off like my transportation to get to my apartment when I first got there, and it just smelled like familiar to me. It smelled reminiscent of how Indonesia smells, at least in my mom's hometown. So I wasn't like, oh, I was like, it smells like Indonesia over here. But a lot of my roommates who are from like the East Coast and like the South, they were not used to it, because at least one of them her mom is Dutch. So not Amsterdam, the Netherlands probably doesn't smell like that either. But I was like, they're all like, and I'm just like, it smells like Indonesia. It's kind of weird, but so it goes. Not a pleasant smell, but not a smell that I personally was overly offended by. I don't know. There's a lot going on in Prague, I would say. There are a lot of tourists. Another thing I wasn't expecting, there's a lot of Korean. So if you, in the touristy areas and like in the airport, so if you know Korean, but you don't know like Czech or English, you're probably good for a good part of it. But it's good to also know English. Even though it's very touristy and there are a lot of things in English, a lot of people aren't necessarily willing to speak English to you. That is one key thing about Prague I noticed. And they're also not outwardly friendly. Like, they're nice, but not friendly. So, like, if you smile at them, they're probably not going to smile back at you. If you look at their dog, they're probably going to glare at you. There are a lot of dogs in Prague. It's one of the highest dogs per person, I think, city-wise in Europe or in the world, something like that. There are a lot of dogs, and a lot of them are cute. But there's a good chance a lot of the owners don't want you petting them or looking at them. Just because it's like that whole post-communism thing. They're like, this is mine, don't take it from me. It's like my personal, you know what I mean. It's like my identity kind of a thing. That's how I think of it. But people aren't outwardly friendly, and a lot of them don't really speak English a lot of times, or they're not so willing and upfront about speaking English. If you ask, like, do you know English? Someone will be like, no, or like only a little bit, but it's not good, and so then they won't speak to you in English at all, which is difficult, but you kind of get used to it, especially for food places. As long as if there's no English on the menu either, it's very good to like know some key things, like what's chicken, or for things that you can't eat, they're pretty good at telling you like what allergens are in what and whatever. Like, I personally can't eat anything that's made from pig, so I had to be really, really cautious about that, because Central to Eastern Europe, big on pig, and I cannot eat, so, which wasn't too difficult. Another thing people don't tell you is grocery shopping. If you're planning on doing like a bulk grocery shop thing, which when not a lot of people do that, a lot of people buy like meal by meal, which is really hard for me. I'm typically like, buy for the week and then see what happens. Typically what happens is people go to a mall, because the grocery stores and like supermarkets are in malls. If you're going in like the colder months, that's where you're going to be going. If you're there in the warmer months, like at the end of my program, which was last week, that's when they started doing farmers markets, so then you could buy produce from that. But if you're there from like the fall semester, there's a good chance there's not going to be very many, especially like October to November, I don't think. So then you're going to have to go to like a Tesco or an Albert or a Billa. Those are the big 3 supermarkets in Prague. If you're studying in Croatia, there's the Konzum. That's like the big one. I went to Croatia, briefly. So there's that. It's not that difficult, but it is kind of weirdly set up, I guess. Well, no, I guess it's not that weird. The Tesco, I've only really been heavily in the Tesco because that was the closest one, and it's also the biggest one. Or one of the biggest ones in Prague was in the Novi Smíchov one, and it was very easy to get around. At first it's kind of confusing, but when you think about it, it's kind of similarly set up to like Target and Walmart and stuff like that. And if you do self-checkout, there is an English button that you can click just in case. And also, a good amount of the cashiers, even though they're older ladies, they know a little bit of English. Like if they need more, if you didn't give them enough money, they'll be like, I need one more, like 5 more crowns or something like that. It's very easy. What else? There's a lot. Also, for living, it kind of depends on your program. I went through CEA, which made my life so much easier. They provide you with transport from the airport to get to home, but not from home to like the airport once the program ends. That's probably one of the hardest parts, but I mean, I guess it's understandable. And then they set you up for your living amazingly. Me and my roommates were super lucky. We all got our own rooms, and then we had like the common areas, and then it was like 2 bathrooms, so they were like split in half. Like you had a toilet and a sink, and then shower and a sink in separate rooms. One thing also that's not in Europe, that's not common whatsoever, is a clothes dryer. So they give you like what's the word I'm thinking for? Like a clothesline kind of thing that you dry your clothes on. That was one thing that I definitely kind of miss, is like hot sheets. That was the thing I missed. But CEA really, at least for Prague, really to a T, they give you all of your pots, pans, and everything, at least basics. What they didn't give you though is like measuring cups and spoons. Not a big deal, but my roommate and I did cook and bake a little bit, so that was a little difficult, but we were able to estimate and it worked out fine. But CEA did a really good job on the living and roommate picking. A lot of people that were in my program did know each other, So like a lot of people from like the same schools were rooming together, but me and my roommates didn't know each other at all. Well, except 2 of them went to the same school, but they didn't like talk a lot to each other, so there's that. But they picked roommates really, really well when you don't know anybody there. Me and my roommates all got along super, super well. We were able to travel and do all this crap together, and we didn't get too sick of each other, and that could be because we also did get our own rooms. But it was just very well done. So there was that. Also, they do provide you with public transportation, so you don't have to keep buying tickets or like be responsible for like refilling your open card. And an open card is basically this little card that we in my program used it as our ID as well, our like school ID, to get like into the building. And then it's also for public transportation. They like scan a little thing and then you're good to go. I think you have to do it, but when you do it by yourself, you have to keep repaying, like putting money on the open card. But for CEA, you don't have to. It's just automatic. You don't have to. You can ride the metro or the tram or the buses as many times as you want. You don't have to worry about paying for that. So that was very, very nice. CEA made getting into Prague very, very easy, and getting around Prague very easy. So especially if you're looking into CEA, I would highly suggest CEA, at least for Prague especially. And everyone was super nice in Prague for my program and all of that. Me and my friends definitely have friend crushes on some of the ladies working there. I'm just like, be my friend, you're so cool. What else? Oh, this is going to be a long video. I'm going to have to separate it out into pieces. While I'm still going on public transportation is very easy. The metro, which is like the trains underground, is very easy. There's 3 lines. They extended the green line, which I think is the A line. They extended that out, I think 3 stops, I think, while I was there, but still very easy to get to. So there's A, B, C. A is green, B is yellow, which was my line, holla. C is red. Super easy to get to, and in the metro, when you're actually in the car, it shows you, there's a map up there, and it shows you where, like, the big landmarks are. So, like, it'll show you where Prague Castle is, where, like, the Powder Tower, I think that's what it's called. They'll show you, like, that one main statue of I can't remember who, at a museum. They show you Visherad, which is awesome, by the way. If you don't want to be stuck in a touristy, if you want to, like, live castle life, but you don't want to be always going to Prague Castle, which is so heavily touristy, go to Visherad. Visherad is amazing. It's a lot more open, and it's lots of greenery. Me and my roommates had at least one picnic there, and it's gorgeous. Would recommend Visherad, which I feel like doesn't get enough love in the Prague sightseeing things, because I guess if you're just a tourist, it's kind of out of the way from the big important stuff like Astronomical Clock, Prague Castle, Powder Tower, Charles Bridge. Like, that's all in one area, while Visherad is like all the way over here. So if you're just like there for like a couple days, Visherad might not be worth it. But if you're there studying abroad for 3 to 4 months, Visherad is worth it. But yeah, metro is very easy to figure out. Trams can get a little confusing, but if you know the ones that you need to get to from like your home to your school, you're basically in the clear. And also, you can Google it, and Google Maps will tell you which ones you need to get on. You can just like write it down and get to where you need to go. Buses, I haven't ridden on as much. I've ridden on like 3 times, maybe. 2 of those times maybe it was only twice. I think I only did buses twice, and that was at the end of my program. One, because my sister visited with her boyfriend, they stayed. I had to take a bus home, at least part of the way home. And then to get to the airport, I just took the 191 from Nakonice to the airport. 191 takes you directly to the airport if you live around the Andel area. So there's that. So I've only ridden the buses twice, but they weren't too bad. Oh no, I lied. I rode a bus to get to IKEA a couple times, like 3 times. So there's that. buses are pretty easy to get around to as long as you know which stop you have to get off on and all that stuff, and what number bus, preferably. Another thing is night trams. Because all public transportation basically shuts down except for night trams between midnight and I think 5 or 6. So if you are going on a trip and you have to get at the train station or airport really early, either take a taxi or night trams. We did night tram once because we kind of blanked on the whole public transportation shuts down except for night trams. There's I want to say 4 night trams that run. And if you need to get somewhere fast really early in the morning or really late at night, night trams are probably not the best way to go. Or if you are banking on the night tram because you don't want to pay for a taxi, you have to go really early because they will stop at one stop for a long amount of time. They'll just sit there, wait, no rush. They're like, okay, then we'll go. And it's when you're really concerned about, I have to catch this train or flight, it gives you a little bit of a heart attack. But it's not too bad. I think for airport, I think you do have to take a taxi. But if you're going to the main train station, you should be okay taking a night tram as long as you leave early enough. Night trams are kind of scary though. I would not suggest going on a night tram by yourself. Because there's just one car. And they sit and wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. And then go on to the next stop. And you're like, come on guys, I got places to go. But there's that. I guess I can do a quick overview before I cut this half. What am I talking about? Probably a fourth of my city Prague experience. Overall, Prague is really awesome. Do not let the public urination and the smells deter you. It's very affordable because they're on the Crown. Don't let the whole they don't know English deter you either. It's really, really great. I would highly, highly suggest going to Prague if you're looking into study abroad because it's not a huge city. You're not going to really get lost because if you're studying, you'll have a home base and hopefully you'll know some major landmarks around your home base so that can at least get you to at least part of the way home because honestly, you can't really get lost. I have gotten on a tram and gotten lost a little bit. I'm like, this isn't where I need to be. So I just got on a tram and waited till I got to a tram stop that also had a metro stop, hopped on a metro and got home. Very easy. At least trams and metros are. Buses I can't speak much on. It's just 10 out of 10 would recommend Prague. It's stinky, it's gritty, it's post-communistic craziness, but it's worth it. It will always have a special place in my heart. I would probably go back. I really do miss it. I'm happy to be home, but at the same time, I miss my Prague home. Just because you do meet some really nice people. I didn't hang out with any locals or anything, but some of the people in my classes were pretty cool that were local, I guess. But I didn't get their Facebooks or anything. I didn't keep in contact with them. Oops. But if you are really stuck on where to study abroad and you're like, I want to go to London, I want to go to Barcelona, I want to go to Rome, check out Prague. It's a beautiful. There's fun things, especially if you're more of an artsy kind of kid. Okay, I would suggest either Prague or Berlin. Berlin is great for your artsy kid needs, but Prague is it's really nice because it's very easy to get to a lot of Central to Eastern European countries, and it's very much it's the path less traveled for a lot of people because they're more focused on the Ireland, England, Spain, Europe. I mean Spain, Italy, parts of Europe. Some people go to Germany, not many. And for City Umbrella, people also go to Australia, at least from my school. So Prague was definitely not on a lot of people's radar. But I would suggest Prague. Prague is my home. Away from home. I have 3 homes now. I have my Wisconsin home, Minnesotan home, my Indonesia home and now my Prague home. But yeah, if you're really stuck on where to go, Prague, do it. That's all I think for this video because it's crazy long and I feel like I didn't talk much at all about anything. So I will see you guys next time in probably my post-study abroad part 2. We'll see how many parts I need to do. What have I even talked about? I'm sorry, I ramble and I'm not very organized. In my next parts, I will probably talk about actual things that could be important for you. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, if you like this video and found this brief, broad, long overview helpful, please thumbs us up and share it around with other prospective study abroad students because it's fun to share my experiences with people. And I hope it did help a little bit. My next part will be coming out hopefully shortly, but I am going to be going to Indonesia for a little bit, possibly Malaysia and Thailand, with my mom to see some family and all that stuff, and to travel a little more. So the next part probably won't be out for a while, but it will be out eventually, I promise, along with all of my vlogs that I haven't put up for my Prague vlogs. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!